Hello, everyone. Welcome back to OTD Military History. So off the hop, I just want to mention this coming Saturday, which I believe is the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Saturday, 20th, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So whatever that corresponds to, wherever you are. We'll be having one of our own. Norma Graham will be on to talk about Burke Kennedy and his war, his Second World War experience. This comes about because we've been looking at him and in our own separate research, and I've been helping out Norma with her own, and I finally want to get her on to talk about him because his war is super fascinating and his personal story is literally all over the place, fighting from Sicily up into the mainland of Italy and then into Northwest Europe and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a fascinating story to have one of our own. So today is going to be not the most fun conversation I've had on here, but it's something I want to do because I'm not the type to go down kind of without a fight, so to speak, without trying everything I can. So over the last little bit, as many of you know, I've been doing tons of stuff on Normandy. I mean, I'm behind because I've had other work I've had to be doing, and that has not stopped. That's continuing on. I am still working on the Bretteville video. It's going to be a big one. That's why it's taking much longer, and I've been able to kind of get out some smaller ones. Recently, especially today, did a video release today on point 67. So if you haven't seen that one, go check it out afterwards. Getting views on the first day, especially the first couple hours, is very helpful for me. We'll get to that in a bit, but that's a new video, and the sites from from point 67 are just fantastic. And it gives you some sort of sense of that because I was there on a very clear day and all of that stuff, and it's just south of Con. So you can check that out afterwards. So kind of going back to what I'm talking about. So I started, as a lot of you know, I know a lot of you have been following me for a long time and are great supporters of what I do with the channel and all my other work and everything like that. I started OTD years ago now, years and years ago. In 2019, I believe, is when it got its first start off on Twitter. And it kind of just grew and grew and grew, and people asking for more and me wanting to do more. And all that good stuff. And it's been extremely amazing to have these experiences and to meet everyone, especially people who watch me consistently and support me consistently. And those who are here today, especially with, I know you guys, a lot of you we have ways coming up and all of that this weekend and all of that good stuff. So recently I've had to do a lot of thinking about what OTD is going to look like in the future and how it's going to continue. So this is not a giving up video, not at all. It's not a shutting down type of video. What it is laying out the facts of what I have going on and what the future may look like. So recently I've decided that I can't keep continuing the amount of work I put into OTD with the channel, especially without it kind of being able to sustain itself, which it barely does, but also more than that. I mean, I put in well more than full-time hours on this stuff, and it just doesn't return that. This isn't a complaining thing. It's just I want to lay out the facts because I've always tried to be as honest as possible with OTD and everything I do here, broadly speaking, as much as I can. However, it's just I gave myself kind of a deadline to hit and see how things were and how it's going and all of that. It hasn't been where I wanted it to be. I gave myself the deadline of end of August, September, really end of summer. So it's not where it needs to be in a good spot to continue on as it is. So today, I have most of you, I think, watching now already are supporters in one way more than another, Patreon and as YouTube channel members and watching everything. And I'll talk about that in a little bit and what I'm trying to do here today. But I'm just not at where I'm at. So unless I can get more support, I can get the videos to do much better, get more views, get therefore more ad revenue, to kind of pick that up and help to sustain itself and all that good stuff. It's not going to be able to continue as it is currently. So I'm saying that now because we're about midway through July. So that leaves about 6 weeks of kind of what I'm trying to do here, right? I still get some big videos I want to have come out. I think they will have some interest. I'm not sure if they'll do the trick. But as again, full disclosure, a lot of people have asked about this and wanting to know about what's going on and knowing that stuff's going to keep going. So as of right now, what I'm thinking, and Iain kind of hits the nail on the head here, is I'm looking to do, I'm not sure, because I have some other things on the go that are going to be busy, especially right now. Like I've literally been spending the last few days just doing those other things that do help me in terms of, making money to pay bills. And another thing, sorry, that I forgot to mention, I mentioned before, is I have a huge amount of debt from school. Like I didn't have a ton of money going into it. I was working before, but the job I had wasn't great and it wasn't paying a ton. So I have a ton of debt, and that's a kind of a, the sort of Damocles is over my head every day. And that's the thing that's a big consideration for me. And some other life stuff is also part of it. Sorry, what's that? Still super hot here in Ottawa. Still is. So that's part of it, right? I don't know if I can continue. I know I can't continue to do OTD as it is, releasing on the schedule, things I've been doing and live streams and, and having guests on and everything like that. That won't be able to continue in that way, shape, or form without more support, which I'm hoping to get. I mean, Patreon is the best for support in that area. I know some people don't like a monthly subscription, which is fine, and I understand that. I also have linked the PayPal down below. You can give a one-time there as well if you like. If you're willing to, if you can. Any amount really does make a huge difference for keeping things going, because I need to kind of establish a pattern here of support that I have for things in the future. So if the support does not increase over the next 6 weeks, which I'm seemingly not likely, just running out of time, is basically what Iain has here is this question. That's the plan. The plan is to find full-time work. I mean, maybe we'll see, maybe part-time. I don't know. I have some other part-time contracts that are ongoing and things like that I can do other times. Those will still keep going and all that good stuff, but maybe full-time and probably not in the history field, unfortunately for me. Again, full disclosure, a lot of I don't speak French and I don't speak it well. I can read it okay, but not great. And I live in Ottawa, and that's a big stumbling block for me. So I'm probably looking outside the history field. I mean, this doesn't really concern anybody here, but it's just kind of part and parcel of what's going on here. And I, again, like to be honest. So I'm thinking of that. So OTD will take a very much a backseat if I can't get it up to a better support level. Like I said I was at the beginning of June, I wanted to double the supporters. And we're just not on a pace for that. And that's another thing too, and Rob is correct, is monetization can be taken away at any time. So it's not something to be relied on, especially because recently, again, it looks like another round of demonetization is coming through, which is troubling in and of itself. But also, for those who don't understand, is demonetization means basically the video is being hidden. It's not going to be promoted. No one's going to see it. No one's going to see the work. No one's going to see the story and all that important stuff. It's just not going to happen. So that's a huge blow as well. And it can be taken away on the videos from a channel, whatever. And it seems military history is really much teetering on that edge at YouTube here, that it could just disappear based on the rules YouTube has put in place. And depending on how you read them, it can happen at any time because they're already there. So all it would be I guess all you could do with history is do this, is have someone talking to you with nothing, because any sort of descriptions or presentations of any of that stuff connected with military history is technically against the monetization rules. So that's a big problem. So that's why things like Patreon are so important, because they can exist outside the system and continue to support the work and help those who are making this stuff to continue on and continuing to do that. So that said, kind of getting back to possible plans for the future is, again, life things are coming. Things are going to be changing potentially. So I need to take care of those things as well. That's very cryptic, but that's how it has to be on the internet. So if you can, again, support is hugely helpful. Getting the videos watched as much as possible, even going through the back catalog is extremely helpful. I've done some tweaking on my end behind the scenes to hopefully bring things up, right? I need the videos, long form videos, right? The ones that are not shorts to be watched. Those are hugely important to getting out there and getting at least something, because they pay the best. Those are very helpful. I don't know, anything else I'm not sure about. I have some thinking to do of what it's going to look like going forward, but it won't be much, unfortunately. So if that is the case, not sure when this change will take effect, if it does. Again, I'll let everybody know as much as I know, as quickly as I know. So that's kind of the bummer news, and then changes will happen as they happen. But I'll try to get out as much as I can for the Canada Normandy project, which is not where I wanted it to be, and that's partially my fault. I mean, it's mostly my fault for not getting enough done and spending enough time on it, and trying to get all that stuff out. It's just, I took on too much. I still want to get it as much as I can. I had some, big plans, and they didn't all happen as I wanted them to. They might still, but if I do, it'll be a slow trickle out, because I'll be able to work on it on weekends and evening here and there, and maybe get some smaller videos out, and definitely get the footage I took of places and things, in Normandy, and some stories and things like that, and some other stuff that's already kind of been done, and I can maybe change it a little bit and things like that. But yeah, and this is true. It's becoming unpredictable. It's also, Rob is correct, it's been taking a hammering over the last year, maybe even a bit longer for me. I've had some issues with monetization and some other channel issues going on here for all kinds of stupid reasons that I probably should have known better than to do. But what can you do? I mean, bigger channels than me are having trouble. So if they're having trouble, what chance do I have? Right. So, I mean, it's unlikely to continue on the way it is. I'd love nothing more than to do this all the time. But I can't, the way things are going. So that said, of what I have been trying to do and trying to make this not be the case, I guess, sorry, I didn't really write anything down, just kind of been struggling with these ideas over the last little bit, and then kind of down in the dumps with thinking about what the future may hold in terms of OTD and what that's going to look like, and possibly having to leave the history field, possibly permanently. I don't know. Again, it's not looking good for my personal situation of staying in the field. But we'll see. So what I've been trying to do is make the Patreon as best I can. Again, just one person working on as much as I can with other commitments for work as often as I can. I've been trying to do something at least every day. So that's one of the benefits I'm trying to get across with the Patreon, and why I'm trying to pump that up is something that it has value on its own. It's not just necessarily, what's the word? It's not necessarily for the money. But to get that to have its own life, that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, certain platforms aren't really good for some of the stuff I try to do, right? I try to find, all kinds of documents and things like that. Like, some social media platforms aren't the best for going back and finding old stuff. And it's better on there because you can search, and it comes up, and you can turn on notifications and all that good stuff. So if you are willing, I think the best tier is not best, but I have one tier that I should have taken away, but I didn't. Is $3.50 Canadian. It's not much, especially for other countries. It's really not that much. That's what I've thought about doing. That's what I'm trying to get. So trying to get that going, trying to get as much as possible. There's higher tiers if you can. Again, most of you already are. That would be fantastic to have that sort of support. And I'm glad to hear that, not necessarily from, the supporter side, because I really wish more content creators would use it for kind of one of its intentions was to get people to have specific things and, all that good stuff. So I wish more would do that, because I think it's a great platform from that, and it's getting better all the time. You can now integrate video, which is fantastic for YouTubers and people who use video, and you have tons of like memory that you can use, and that's why I upload documents and things like that. It's a great platform for that, and that's what I do every day, and that's why I'm always finding interesting things and stuff for the videos, and I thought people would really find that fascinating. So I'm trying to build that up. So if you are not one of those, it would be greatly appreciated if you could consider it. Any amount is very helpful. And trying to build up stuff there, those conversations that used to just be social media can be happening there, and all that stuff. And there's a free option. I do put stuff there from time to time, and then everyone else can access those posts as well. So that's another option too, is going on about that. So that's kind of the thinking there. YouTube is also an option, right? You can be a channel member. Same sort of thing. I try to post as much as I can with YouTube's limitations. Can't do many documents, things like that. I can do photos, but that's pretty much it, and video and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to really pump that up. Again, if you want to do it one time, you can do it on PayPal. That's also greatly appreciated. Also, I'm available for research work as well. If anybody has any of that going on, I'm willing to help. I can do also copy editing. I can do content editing. All that stuff, right? I again, not tooting my own horn, but I have the PhD in history, so I have experience with writing in various formats, right? Academic, popular, public history, academics generally, anything like that. I can help in a lot of ways, and I have pretty good research skills, I like to think. So, that would be something I can also do for people. And my rates, I think, are not bad, especially if you need stuff from things in Ottawa. They're a bit slow, and I'm faster. So that's something else I can do as well, and I have been doing. It's just not enough. So that's another thing I've been thinking of trying to pump up a little bit more. But so the next thing I want to talk about is how you can help too outside of Patreon and things like that. The first one, many of you know, there is still OTD merch. There's an OTD merch store. It's linked down below if you want to check it out. We have one of our mattress thingies is on there, and there's lots of different stuff on that, and a few other things that do help me out quite a bit. You can enjoy an afternoon beverage out of a mattress thingy mug or an OTD mug, which I have both, and they're great. Love them. They've held up really well, which was great. I mean, I knew that going into it, but it's not, get to really test it. And I've been using mine a lot more recently because it's smaller, so I don't drink as much coffee. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Also, going on the YouTube side, watching the videos, like I already said, is hugely helpful. Liking, commenting, watching the whole thing in one go is very helpful because it shows the system people are interested in it, all that good stuff. So that really, really is helpful. And sharing it on social media, especially. Facebook is one I'm not very strong on. I kind of neglected it. I didn't do much with it. I'm trying to get, a little bit more traction there. So if you could share across Facebook, that's really, really greatly appreciated. If you think any of my videos fit any groups you're in, because I'm sure people are, like interest groups, history groups, that kind of thing. That's a big one. So that could be helpful as well, especially coming from others, not myself, right? If other people are promoting it, people tend to think it's better. So, or it's whatever, better, not selling selves. I don't know. I'm not really sure how people think about it that way, but I digress. So that's very helpful as well. Yeah, so I mean that's a big thing, but I'm really hoping to keep going. That's, I guess, the big message to take away from today, and I don't want to spend too long on this. Maybe I'll answer some questions at the end, but yeah, I mean I'm hoping to continue on. So, I'm trying to continue on, trying to make this the best situation that I can. But if things don't change, and again, I'll keep everybody in the loop. My channel supporters will know first what's going on, just because that's how I've been doing things. And then I'll let it be known publicly what's going on. And if people make decisions to stop supporting because of that, that's perfectly understandable. Completely understand it. But I am trying to build it up, and I have been for some time because... And this is kind of the last point I wanted to make. And again, it's not tooting my own horn. It's why I started the channel in the first place. This stuff doesn't exist the way I've been doing it. I mean, there's literally no video on 0.67 until I released the one this morning. And the vista there is fantastic. I mean, never seen anything on there about it until I went there years ago. And now every time I'll go, if I ever get to go back now, is go there. It's fantastic. It's a view. I mean, it's on me. It's on par with the Polish there, the museum, Mount Ormel. It's a fantastic vista, and it's a great place to understand why those battles around Barrier Ridge develop and are fought the way they are. I haven't seen that, and there's other topics on there that I don't see anybody else doing. So this is kind of to an appeal if you want this going. And Biron, that's a good point too. I mean, there's been talks on it, I think, but nothing like what I did. Nothing to that depth of research. Not saying that research hasn't been done. It's just never been done in this format. So I guess my point is, if you want this type of Canadian military history to continue in this format, I'm going to need your help, plain and simple, really. Without more help, it's not going to go that well. I won't be able to cover it in depth. I will just release what I can, when I can, which will be in no way predictable. And who knows what it'll look like come future. So that's kind of my appeal is no one else is doing it like this. No one's doing it with the frequency I'm doing it like this. I have tons of ideas that I'd love to do and things that people have suggested and all of that. And I don't know if I'll get there. I can't do it on my own. It's not going to happen, right? The Normandy trip was fantastic, and I got tons of great stuff that I'm willing to share, but it really set me back, and it really showed kind of how this is developing for me. So I need to be able to do more with it. And I mean, I've got whatever it is now, 20,000+ subscribers, and the numbers aren't matching other people with those numbers. So that really hurts me. So I'm trying to get those numbers up. So again, I guess that's the appeal is, and my appeal. So my appeal of what I'm asking for is that. So I will answer some questions. So I'll get there. But what am I trying to say here is the appeal is if you want this. And Alex, yeah, I do appreciate that, and I'll touch. I don't want to do it on here, but I'll touch base with you. I would appreciate some in particularly with the Legion, if that's possible, especially if something is a little more solid. Anyway, so yeah, that's I think the appeal of the channel is I do things way people don't do them for some topics, like I like that Omaha Beach stuff, right? Omaha is done to death, but I've never seen a video on Bach, Major Stanley Bach and his experience landing at Omaha anywhere really, and no one seemed to want to do anything with it. So I did. So yeah, and the Canadian stuff doesn't get touched, right? Like there's no in depth on the murders beyond the Abbaye, which I am going to do when I can get to it. I mean, some of these releases are now going to have to be way in the future now, but they're going to take some time because I want to do them properly. And if I'm not doing this even part-time, then that's going to take a long time, but we'll see. So yeah, so that's my appeal is if you can, please help in any way, shape or form. Lots of options. Also watching, liking, sharing is hugely important, right? Especially when the videos come out, turning on notifications. I know it's not the best system here. That's better than nothing. And I do try to release on social media as well. So you can follow through those avenues or just keep an eye on the channel, all that good stuff. So if you can, please help. So I'll answer a few questions because I want to keep this short. So I want people to read it afterwards. So if you have questions, you can fire away. So that's a good question. I've considered other ones, tried one briefly. It's just not the same level of YouTube. It's just not the same mass. So it's just not as good. It's just not going to work, unfortunately. So it's something I considered, but YouTube is the thing. It's the thing, right? There's nothing else. Nothing even comes close. So this is a giant, and this is why they can do what they do, because they're the game in town. So other places are trying, but they're not on YouTube's level, unfortunately, for everyone. Yeah, I mean, it completely keeps changing. I don't know what they're trying to do, and I don't think they are. So Nebula is an interesting one too. I'm not too sure about how that works, but I can look into it, and maybe I know some other people have done stuff on there. I don't know them personally, but I've seen what they do and all that good stuff. Maybe I don't know if I'm up to that level because I know some of the big channels that are millions of followers, subscribers, and millions and millions of views are on there, and I can't produce what they can produce, right? So I don't know if I'm up to the level of that. That's why YouTube is so good, because there's no expectation, and it is what it is, right? You can present the skills you have, the passion you have. That's the thing. So, yeah. Good question. I am interested in the First World War. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of the Second recently just because of the Normandy anniversary. But I have been doing some reading, and there'll be a live stream coming up hopefully soon on some First World War stuff, because I get sent some books. I do. It's not up to me, though. I told Woody I'm interested, and he's just so busy working on his stuff and everything else he's got going on. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's up to him. So I'd be open to it 100%. I love the format. I love the community that Woody has built, obviously, and all that good stuff. So I would love to be a part of that in any way. So that would help as well, but not up to me. But that's a good idea. So it's a subscription-based service. Yeah, which has a barrier to people, which I don't necessarily like, because then the message gets lost. And it's hard to get the Canadian message out to begin with when it's free and accessible to all of those people across the world, with the countries that have YouTube anyway. That's the idea. So I don't know, some things to think about. Hopefully things get better. Just trying to, have some contingencies and some plans in place and thinking like that. So I can do another AMA shortly if people are interested, if people have lots of questions and maybe some ideas, or you can just reach out to me. The email is available, or social is also available. So just one last appeal. If you can, please consider becoming a patron. Lots of benefits, especially if you're doing your own history work. I can help you. I think that's a lot of other ones don't offer that I'm aware of. I don't see it. I have the experience in academic history and research. Like, that's literally how I'm still kind of able to pay my bills. Pretty okay-ish. Still trying to keep my head above water with that. So that's just one of the skill sets I have. So any support you can give is important, and any way of spreading my message is also very helpful, and continuing what I'm trying to do here. So other than that, please consider supporting. And if not, and if you can't, there's lots of other ways you can do things to help out. So please consider doing those as well. And watching the videos, watching the playlist is massively helpful moving forward. So yeah. You mean his war service? Maybe I've a tiny bit of experience with German archives. Not a lot of it's digitized in my experience, but I could be wrong. Because it's at Heidelberg, right? Or Freiburg. Freiburg is where the military is. Anyway, I haven't done much with them, just a few things for some other contracts I did some way back, and some stuff I've been trying to do recently. But anyway, I can help with whatever. I can help in any way I can. So you can reach out, Andreas. You know how to do that. So you can do that through Patreon itself. Yeah, both of them, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and I understand Alex completely. I get it. I know it's not easy moving to a new country. I moved cities across province, and it was not easy. So I can only imagine leaving a country and coming across an ocean, and then trying to get permanent residency is not easy. Okay, so other than that, I want to finish off by saying thank you to those. Send me a message, Andreas, on Patreon. You should be able to do that. No problem. We'll talk. So I just wanted to say thank you for those who have supported in any way, shape, or form. It does mean a lot to me. It has meant so much to me over these last, whatever it is, 3 years now. It means a lot to have a historical community that I didn't really have growing up, or even until I started discovering this online stuff well before the pandemic, especially, but better during the pandemic. So I appreciate it, and all the support people have been able to give, and moving forward, if you can, even more grateful. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I will see everybody on Saturday afternoon, my time, so evening in Europe and other parts of North America. Other than that, have a good day. And again, consider supporting if you can. And I'll see everybody next time. Bye, everybody.